We're going live right now on YouTube. So we're live everywhere. We're ready for this meeting. We're live on all platforms. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Mixel, Twitter Space, and we're live on Mixel as well. So we're live everywhere. So share the link. Uh, let's share the link if we can. Let's share the link to all of our friends so that they can join this meeting. It's a leadership masterclass. We're going to be teaching leadership today. As many as we can invite, let's invite them to join today's meeting. It's going to be very interesting. It's a lot. I'm going to be teaching a lot today. Just try to start this teaching. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Everyone, thank you so much on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Mixel, on Twitter Space, on Clubhouse. We're live everywhere. So I just want to confirm if you can hear me on Clubhouse. If you can hear me, say hi. And just confirm if you can hear me on Clubhouse. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go right at it. Right at it now. Can I be heard? Can you guys hear me? Confirm if you can hear me on Clubhouse, please.
Loud and clear, sir. Loud and
clear. Okay, awesome. Great, fantastic. Okay, we're going to go right at it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Today, we're going to speak into compassionate leadership. Compassionate leadership. And I'm going to start with this part. It's called the pillars of compassionate leadership, 12 pillars of compassionate leadership. And then I'll continue next week with the benefits of compassionate leadership. So today I will focus on the pillars. What are the pillars of thank you so much. Thank you so much. What are the pillars of compassionate leadership? And what makes compassionate leadership? Thank you very much. And so that's really what we're going to be discussing today. You see, today's world, it's become very important that as a leader, or compassionate leadership has become, it's not a cliche, it's important. We are in a war room or war zone kind of working environment. The inflation is high, salaries are stagnant, people are worried, people are demotivated. The salaries are not going up, the income is not going up, but people are experiencing high inflation. And so people are worried, and employers, team leaders, everyone is thinking, how do we keep our people motivated? More than ever before, compassionate leadership has become very important. More than ever before. More than ever before, we need to employ compassionate leadership in leading our people. We need to employ compassionate leadership in leading teams, in leading our families, in leading in our homes. Compassionate leadership has become very important. And what is this compassionate leadership? Compassionate leadership really is about putting the person before the position. I'll say that again. It's about putting the person before the position. So compassionate leadership has to do with seeing the person first before the function, that position. And so seeing your colleague as a person, not just as a position. Seeing your team members not just as resources, in projects, people are resources, but seeing them beyond resources, but as humans. So compassionate leadership really is a leader who tries to solve difficult problems in human ways. That's what compassionate leadership is. When you as a leader, you're trying to solve problems, and these are problems from the office, everywhere, you're solving it, but in a human way. It's not mechanized. We're looking at the people, the resources, the people that we have in our offices, and the people we have in our team, in our communities, in our families, and we are working together to solve problems together. That's what compassionate leadership is about. And so everyone needs to learn compassionate leadership, especially because you're leading. You need to learn the skill. We need to know about the skill. Knowing the skill will help you to lead in this time. Knowing the skill will help you to navigate the challenges of this time and come out with amazing results. And so today I want to speak to the 12 pillars of compassionate leadership. What makes you a compassionate leader? How do you know you're a compassionate leader? And what are the pillars that forms this whole idea of compassionate leadership? Number one is you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Careful, care, and full. That means you have to be full of care. Compassionate leadership embodies the idea that you're full of care. You care about the people, you care about the team members, and they know. You show them that you truly care. Compassionate leadership speaks to your your willingness to show that you care, and you don't just care at the bare minimum, but you're full of it. You're full of this care. You're full of care. So you care for those people. You care for your people. You care for your team members. You care for everyone around you in your community. You're leading people. You care for those people. You truly care. And you action the care. You don't just word the care. Sometimes you can word the care. You can write this generic statements and say, oh, we care about you here and all of that. No, that's not what we're speaking to. We're speaking to genuinely caring for the people around you, genuinely caring for the people that you lead in your team members, showing them that you care. And so you have to be careful. You have to be full of care. A compassionate leader is full of care. In fact, that's how he leads. He leads through caring. And so this number one pillar is very important. A compassionate, a compassionate leader, or one who chooses to operate compassionate leadership, cares. They genuinely care. They care. That's what they do. They really care. They show this care. They are full of it. They are concerned. So they're not just asking you, have you delivered this tax? Have you done this? No. They're also asking, how you doing? Is everything okay? Is family okay? Everything good? Is there anything we can do to help? That's compassion. The compassionate leader truly cares. And so it's an organization or a, a group or a company or an entity has embodied in it this principle or this pillar of being careful. You will see it. You will see it in the culture of the organization. And more than ever before, young people really want to know that you care. There's a lot of struggle with the Gen Zs, trying to get them in the workplace, get them to get the work done. And the problem is that there's a disconnect. The way of working or the way of leadership is not working as it used to. Compassionate leadership is the way to go to work with this generation, the Gen Zs. Compassionate leadership is the way to go to work with millennials. And so if you cannot demonstrate compassionate leadership, you're not able to get these people to give you their best. And one of the key principles of compassionate leadership is being careful. You're full of care. You have to be full of care as a compassionate leader. You have to be full of it. You care for your people and genuinely care for them. Not just care for them as resources within the team, but as humans. Because when they know you care and you care for their well being, they will give their best. And it has been proven, research has shown that compassionate leaders are getting better results. Research has shown that compassionate leaders are getting better results. Compassionate leaders are operating by these principles of being number one, careful. Number two, principle, or number two, pillars. I'm speaking, I rather use the word pillars. Number two, pillar of compassionate leadership is number two is compassionate accountability. I call it compassionate accountability. You know, one of the things in compassionate leadership is that because you're a compassionate leader, you can't be forceful, right? You can't be forceful. You can't be a destroyer. You can't be a commando. but you need to keep your people accountable. Everyone has to be accountable. And the way it works is that you have to be accountable, held to the same account as everyone in the team, and they have to see it. And that's why we call it compassionate accountability. Everyone has to be accountable within the team. And so we say that everyone should do this at this time. And we see that everyone does it. And you set that example and you keep everyone accountable in a compassionate way. So, one of the ways that you get things done as a compassionate leader is to set the pace for what we call compassionate accountability. Everyone in the team has to be accountable. Yeah, the fact that you're a compassionate leader does not mean that you can behave anyhow. Oh, I'm a compassionate leader, do anything you like. No. But we set that tone, that culture of compassionate accountability. Someone is not feeling fine and they're not able to make it to the office. They won't just say, "Oh, I don't need to tell them. I just skip office." No. Well, you call your boss because your boss has set that tone. Everyone has set the tone in the office, in the team, in the group. Oh, I'm not feeling fine at this moment. I'm not able to do this. But is there anything that is urgent that I need to get done, that needs to get done? How do we outsource this and get it done and all of that? That's how compassionate accountability works in compassionate leadership. So everyone is accountable. Everyone is doing what they need to do. And if for whatever reasons they're not available to get things done, they are accountable. Everyone, because when we speak to compassionate leadership, we're not saying no one should be accountable, but the way we hold people to account is different. We hold people to account from a standpoint of compassion. We hold people to account from a standpoint of compassion. That's what we do as compassionate leaders. That's what a compassionate leader does. And it's important that we know this as individuals so that we implement this in our team. Maybe it's not something you can implement in your organization, but the small team that you lead, you can implement it there. Your family group, you can implement it. That volunteer group that you lead, you can implement it there. So you keep everyone accountable in a way that is compassionate. Very, very important. You keep everyone accountable in a way that shows humanity, in a human way. Compassionate accountability is not that where you just are looking for the faults. You just want to, it's not so much about the accountability, it's so much about the got you thing, keeping everyone accountable. And everybody knows, because the beautiful thing about us as humans is that when we know that this person is human about keeping us accountable, we want to be accountable. And so that's what compassionate accountability is, where we hold everyone to account to the same standards in a way that shows that we're human, beyond the fact that we're just resources, but we're humans. That is compassionate accountability. Number three pillar, which is important, I want to speak to, and it's very similar to the second, is constructive feedback. You see, as leaders and leading an organization myself, I find the importance of giving constructive feedbacks. And I always say this is the rule of thumb in giving feedbacks. If it's not building, don't give it. If that feedback will not build that person, if it will destroy the person, take it away. Your feedback must be constructive. One of the key elements or the key pillars of compassionate leadership is giving constructive feedback. The feedback is a circle. You always have to give that feedback, but it must be constructive. It must be building that person in the team. Don't give feedbacks that destroy as a leader. If you give feedbacks that make people feel so terrible, feel so down, feel so empty, you're not a compassionate leader. A compassionate leader gives feedback in a way that builds, in a way that makes the person see that, hey, I didn't do this correctly. I could do it better. That's what a compassionate leader does. He gives the feedback in a constructive way. The compassionate leader is not afraid. Now, hear me now. The compassionate leader is not afraid to give feedback. But what he does is that he makes sure that he gives the feedback in a constructive way. Because what the compassionate leader is about is really about the best interest of the people and also the interest of the team at large, the common interest of the team. So a compassionate leader wants everyone to succeed. The compassionate leader wants you to succeed, wants to succeed, and wants the team to succeed. And so it becomes important to take feedback. It's important. And so he gives it in a constructive way. And you receive that feedback in a constructive way because it's coming, it's building you. Only a conceit person will say they don't need feedback. Everyone needs feedback. Everyone. And so, in an organization, in a team, in a group, in a community where compassionate leadership is the style of leadership, feedback is always constructive. Feedback is always constructive. You will always give the feedback in a constructive way. In an organization where there is compassionate leadership, the leader is not afraid to tell you that this thing, to correct things. But he corrects it in a way that builds. He doesn't bring you down. He doesn't throw the water and the baby away. No, no. And one of the key things compassionate leaders do is they always address the issue. They always focus on the issue at hand. They don't say you're stupid. When you're correcting someone and you start attacking the person instead of the issue, you'll lose them immediately. Oh, you see, you're not thinking well. You're attacking that person. You're not thinking well. When you tell someone you're not thinking well, see, yeah, you don't have you're not smart. You're not smart enough. You see, those kind of feedbacks destroy. They're not good feedbacks. You can give that feedback by giving it in a constructive way. You can say the person didn't get this issue, or they didn't get this point correctly. Oh, you didn't do this correctly, and that's okay. It's not that you're not correct as a person, but this in this case it wasn't done correctly, and we can do it correctly in this way. And so, one of the beautiful things about compassionate leaders, and you see this across industries, is that a compassionate leader is not afraid to give feedback. And when they give those feedbacks, they give it in constructive ways. They give it in a way that is very constructive. And so I just want to encourage every one of us here to glean on the principles or the pillars of a compassionate leader. In today's world, you can't lead people by coercion. You can't coerce people today. You can't command people today. You have to change the tactics of leadership because people are angry, people are frustrated. You come as a boss and you're just talking to people anyhow, you won't get the best of them. You will never get the best of anyone when you are putting them under duress and stress. You never get the best of them. You will never get the best of anyone when you make them constantly feel pressured, afraid, put them in that negative zone. You never get the best of them. And so, if you want to get the best of people, if you want to get the best of people, adopt these principles of a compassionate leader. Adopt the compassionate leader principles. And one of those principles or one of those pillars is constructive feedback. Constructive feedback. So I'll go back to number one. A compassionate leader is careful, he's full of care. Number two, a compassionate leader embodies what we call compassionate accountability. And number three, a compassionate leader gives constructive feedback. Very, very important. The next thing is number four. You see, this number four principle is very important because as a compassionate leader, the only tool, one of the tools that you have to lead, the tools that you have to lead are these principles or these pillars. So you have to know them. And number four is core values. One of the ways that you get everyone in line without them being afraid of you, without them being feeling scared of losing their job or losing their position, or you don't want to force them, you don't want to be authoritarian, you just want to embody a compassionate leader style. You have to establish the core values of the organization. It has to be clear. It has to be clear. What are our core values? What do we stand for? And so these core values has to resonate with everyone in the team. If you're leading a family, and I'm very passionate about people, because some of us, as we are starting our families, we're leading those families as men and women. When you're setting up your home, set it up based on core values. You're setting up a small team. You're leading a team of one or two persons. Those core values must be established. You can say our core value is that we always tell the truth. You see, if you make that a core value in your organization, that this is the core value, we always tell the truth. So no matter what, the truth must be told. Once that becomes a core value, you see that everyone will tell the truth. It becomes a principle. So when you are going against the core value, then you're lying, you're going against those core values. You see what I'm saying there? So you establish these core values. You're saying excellence is our core value. Our work must be excellent. Everything we do it with excellence. That's a core value. So when you establish these core values as a compassionate leader, you see, it becomes the guiding lights for operation within the team. It's not about the leader, it's about the core values running the organization, running the team, running the group, running the community. It's about that core value. So a compassionate leader is not so much about trying to exert themselves on the group, but really following the lead of the core values of the team, of the organization, of the community. That's what a compassionate leader does. And so they establish that value and say, these are our core values. And so if it does not resonate with you, you probably don't want to be a part of this team, of this community, of this group. So these core values must be established, must be known. As a compassionate leader, you must embody these core values. I think it's very important to say this, that every compassionate leader must embody the core value of the group that they lead. If you say that respect is a core value, it means that that leader must be so respectful to everyone in the team. If you say honor is a core value, it means that everyone must be treated with honor in the team. If you say that punctuality is a core value, it means that even the leader that is leading the team must be punctual at every point. So all of these things, the leader must embody it. He embodies this core value. They see it. So the leader, the compassionate leader, actually lives out the core value. I'll say that again. The compassionate leader lives it out. He lives out the core value. He lives it. People can see a reflection of this core value in the life of the compassionate leader. So the compassionate leader is not just telling you these are core values, but is actually living it, and you can see it. That this person is a person of integrity. This person is a person of excellence. This person is a person that sticks to their words. That's what it means to be a compassionate leader. And so it's very, very important to get this number 4 very key. Number 5, how do you manage your people as a compassionate leader? A compassionate leader is not a commando. What you do as a compassionate leader to grow your people is coach them. So coaching is an important aspect of compassionate leadership. A compassionate leader must know how to coach. You must be a great coach. A compassionate leader must be a great coach. When you're coaching people, it's different from when you are micromanaging people. A compassionate leader is not a micromanager, it's not a commando. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Micromanaging. No, he coaches. He coaches. I dare to say that a compassionate leader is not an instructor. He doesn't give instructions. We must do this, instructions. There are levels to these things, right? Some leaders are instructors. They instruct, they tell you, do this. But a compassionate leader is more of a coach. He coaches. He builds you up by coaching you up. He helps you to discover yourself. He gives you the freedom to explore your potentials. But then he goes ahead to guide you through that journey. That's what a compassionate leader does. He guides you through that journey. So a compassionate leader is guiding you through the journey. That's what he does. So it's helping you as you continue in your journey. Very, very important. So you see then the difference between a compassionate leader or the compassionate leadership style and other leadership styles. You see there the difference. So a compassionate leader is leading and is also coaching. So you want to, because your people have to grow, right? Your people have to grow. So how do they grow? They grow by you coaching them, leading them to, because maybe you don't have the necessary skills or competence to build them up in that direction or whatever, or you direct them to the one that can help them. You lead them and say, oh, this person is skilled, this person can help you, take them to that person. That's a compassionate leader is. So the next thing is, and it's very important, the next is, which is number 6, and I think probably we'll stop number 6 and 7 and stop here, is a compassionate leader celebrates their people. You see, always celebrates. You need to, one of the things, if they do something good, celebrate them. That's what you do as a leader. When your team does something good, celebrate them. Your children, maybe you're leading in your home, you're leading your kids. Anything they do correctly, tell them, wow, that's good, that's fantastic. Celebrate them, celebrate the wins. Compassionate leader. Let me tell you something. When you tap into that, you need to tap into, there's something about celebrating people when they do something correctly. They will keep at it. They don't want to disappoint you. They will keep at it. So when they do something correctly, they will keep at it. So celebrate the wins. I got this. This is good. And you celebrate it. So a compassionate leader celebrates his people. Oh, I love what you, and if they've not done anything correctly, maybe they've been messing up all through, and they just did one thing that was nice and good and okay and fantastic. You celebrate it. Say, wow, this is good. This is very, very good. This is very good. And you use that medium to correct other areas or give your feedback, constructive feedback for other areas. That's what compassionate leaders do. Oh, I like this. This is good. This format is good. This is good. Yeah, this is very good. Then you add, it will be better if you do this, this, this. Is it? These are ways, systems, ways to get these things done. So a compassionate leader celebrates people. Don't try to take the glory. Celebrate. Give this. Wow, you did a good job. This was good. Celebrate them. Celebrate them. Tell them that, wow, this was good. Celebrate them in front of other people. Celebrate them in front of their stakeholders. Everyone has what we call stakeholders. Stakeholders are people that they have a stake in your functionality. Maybe your work, anywhere you're working. These people are called stakeholders. It means they may not be your direct bosses or whatever, but they are stakeholders. You interact with them, and their impression of you matters. So you as a leader must help to create the right impression of the people around you or the team members or people that you're working with or people in your community. You must help to create the right impression to their stakeholders. This is very, very important. You must help to create the right impression to their stakeholders because everyone has stakeholders. And if you as a leader don't give the right impression to the stakeholders of your team members or people that you're leading, it speaks a lot because because your words matter, your opinion matter, And so when they do something correctly, celebrate them openly. And when you want to give the feedback, give the feedback. When you want to give the feedback personally. Don't embarrass them in front of all stakeholders. It's in the personal, in the place of one-on-one that you give them those feedback. But openly, you celebrate them. Compassionate leaders understand how to get people to really do the right thing without coercing them. I really love compassionate leadership style. It's my style. It's a style of leadership I love to embody. I love to be led by compassionate leaders, and I love to lead like a compassionate leader. I love to be led by compassionate leaders, and I love to lead like a compassionate leader. It brings out the best in you. Next week I'll be speaking to the benefits of this, but you will see the benefits of having a compassionate leader, especially in today's world. Anyone who wants to lead young people today must be a compassionate leader. If you want to lead the Gen Zs, the millennials, you have to be a compassionate leader. You can't be a dogmatic commando. You're not going to get the best of Gen Zs and millennials. You're not. You want to lead Gen Zs, you want to lead millennials in your office, in your organization, in your team. You have to adapt this compassionate leadership style, especially now that people are just worried. There's a lot of crisis out there, mental health crisis, inflation, economic downtowns and all that. So many things just happening. People are worried, people are going through many things. Compassionate leaders are the ones that are attracting the best people to them. Compassionate. Some people are working in places, working in teams, not because of how much they're being paid, but because of how their leaders make them feel. I'm telling you, people are working in places. Some of them is not so much about the money, the finances, just really how their leaders make them feel. And so it's very good that for every one of us, especially as we grow into leadership, as you're leading, you start leading people in your organization, in the corporate setting, in non-corporate settings, you always lead people and you get to lead people, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 100, 200 people. You have to decide, how do I lead these people? And also, if you're not going to lead anybody, you will start a family and you'll be a leader in that family. How do you lead your family? Compassionate leadership works every time. When I'm speaking to my children, and I noticed that when I try to, be a little bit tough. No, of course, you have to be tough sometimes. When you try to, you want to use, your authority to get them to do something. It's a lot easier when you do it in a way that is compassionate. It works every time. Instead of raising your voice, get here, do this. Just using this approach gets them to do it, and they do it with all pleasure. It works for me. This is my style of leadership. My wife knows this. My style of leadership is, I don't it's working. My kids are quite young, but it's a style that I use, and it works every time. Compassionate leadership it's a beautiful way of leading, and I really want to encourage us to, you know, adapt this style of leading. I'm going to be teaching this throughout this month. I really want this because it's something I really think that will help us. Tomorrow in our relationship service, I'll be talking about the compassionate spouse. But today we're speaking about compassionate leader. And so I'll be going to the relationship aspect of this. Please don't miss relationship service tomorrow. Number 7, and I'll stop here. Every compassionate leader, and this is very, very important for compassionate leaders. Every compassionate leader must know how to solve problems. It's called conflict management skills. You need to have what we call conflict management capabilities. A compassionate leader is not someone that avoids conflict. A compassionate leader is someone that has mastered the art of resolving conflict. I taught this last year, probably teach it again this year. Conflict management. A compassionate leader must know how to manage conflicts. It's a core pillar of compassionate leaders. You know how to manage conflict because there will be conflicts. And so your conflict management capabilities must come to play in order for you to display your compassionate leadership skills. It's very, very important. It's a pillar of a compassionate leader. Is his ability to manage conflict. A compassionate leader does not avoid conflict. A compassionate leader actually, what a compassionate leader does actually, is they master the art of conflict management and they deploy conflict management capabilities within groups that they lead, organizations that they run, and they help to foster cohesion within the organization because they're able to smoothen all friction with their conflict management capabilities. That's what compassionate leaders do. And so I just really want to, I think these are core principles. These are things that we must know. If you want, maybe for some of you might have questions, we'll go into question and answer shortly. And we dig into this of what compassionate leadership is about. I really think that it's a good thing for us to build on, to know. Some of us, our personalities might not allow us to be very compassionate, but it's not so much about it. It's a skill that can be learned. In order for you to really lead, like I said, it doesn't mean that you're too soft as a compassionate leader. No, it just means that your approach is human. You have a human way of dealing with, of leading people. So you're getting the best of people. You're getting the best of people while achieving the objective of the organization without dehumanizing those people. Right? You're getting the best of them. That's it. Compassionate leadership helps you to get the best of people. They feel fulfilled. They do what they're doing with so much joy, and at the same time achieve the core objective of the organization, of the group, of the team. That's what they're doing. So you're doing, you know, what we found out, and this is research based, is that people that rose to leadership in organizations, that have risen to leadership in organizations, they do that at the expense of the people that they have led. So much hurt. By the time they get to that executive level, what actually happens is that they have hurt so many people along the way because they want to get results. They're so result focused that they lose touch of the humanity of those resources, of those people that they're leading. And compassionate leadership helps you to achieve your objective, but not at the expense of the people that you work with. So I'm going to stop here at number 7. I have 12, but I'll stop at number 7 so I can take questions. And after which, maybe we continue next week on this as well. Yeah. So thank you very much. I don't know if you have questions for me, Anne. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. Wow, what a wonderful time to learn and a lot to take in. As leaders, we are all emerging and we are all growing in different aspects of our lives. And I believe we have questions in the room. Please, if you have a question, whichever platform you're listening on, you can use the Zoom chat to drop your question. Yes, and then we have set of teams who would be able to pick up your questions and send it to the right channel. Praise God. Pastor Michael, there's a question to you. It says, how do you deal with team members who do not take constructive feedback well? What are some ways, most likely effective ways, to encourage you to be more open to feedback and engage in productive conversations? I don't know if you got that question or if I should read it back again or repeat the question.
Yeah, I did get the question. Thank you very much for that question. So, you see, of course, there are people that will not take feedbacks correctly, as it were, because, yeah, so, sorry. There are people that will not take feedback correctly because at the end of the day, you have people who don't think they have the need to be corrected. So part of what you do as a compassionate leader is to know when to get someone off the team. A compassionate leader knows when to get someone off the team because a compassionate leader is not a weak leader, right? A compassionate leader is not a weak leader. A weak person, a compassionate leader, the fact that you're a compassionate leader doesn't mean that you're weak and so people can do anything they like. No, a compassionate leader knows when to tell this person, out of so much compassion, I think this is not the best place for you to be. It'll be good for you to join this, exit this team, or maybe go to another team that best suits your personality. And so a compassionate leader is also firm. A compassionate leader does not allow negativity to flourish in his team, in his organization, in his group. So that's for a group. But of course, there are situations where you might not be able to get the person out of the group, like in the family. How do you deal with that? Maybe this person has to be a part of the team. They can't leave the team. If you're leading a family, the person has to be there, right? So compassionate leadership also has its role when you're giving feedbacks. The thing about compassionate leadership is that you don't throw in the towel and say, oh, especially for situations like in a family where you have to be with this person, but you have to manage and contain the situation, right? You have to manage and contain the situation, contain that person in order for it not to spread. This is very, very important. One thing about traits in a team or an organization is that when you allow it, it will spread. So what we do is we contain. Once we contain it, we manage it as compassionate leaders. I don't know if you have been in teams. For some of you, maybe have led teams. There's someone that is very difficult. This person is a very difficult person, but they have to be on the team. They have to be on the team. And your capacity as a compassionate leader is to know or master the art of managing this person because they have to be on the team. They have to be. Maybe you're not able to get them out of the team. So there are two scenarios. One where you can get them out of the team, one where you can't get them out of the team. Like a family, for instance, you can't get your children out of the team. You can't get, someone that is misbehaving in the family easily. You need to know how to manage them and contain them so that they don't spread, you know. So that's very, very important. Two key things I think is very important. And again, I think also it's important that we keep looking for the solutions. We keep peeling the layers of solutions until we find the one that works. I'll say that again. We keep looking for solutions. We keep peeling the layers of solutions until we find the one that works. We will definitely find it. Always have the solution in mind. Think of the solution. Focus on solutions. You will find the solution. What can I do to help? Maybe I should give this feedback in a different way. If this person can't take this feedback this way, maybe I should give it in a different way. But it's constructive. Or I probably have to make it a bit more constructive. Or there are different ways you can do these things. There's a way you can give feedback that it becomes that person that is giving them, assessing themselves. It's a system of feedback that the person then sees, oh, 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 oh. They're the ones that they become the judge of the matter. It's a system of feedback. So you need to find what works and use it. Okay, it's very, very important. I don't know if I answered that question. Thank you very much.
Perfectly. Thank you so much, Pastor Michael. Well, thank you so much for that. And we are all learning and we're growing. Praise God. So definitely we will work better and we will be better. I have the second question, which says, when approaching sensitive or challenging topics, how do you ensure that your communication is careful, respectful, and considerate of others' feelings? Can you probably share some specifics? on strategies one can employ to make sure that one is respectful and supportive when having such discussions or when having a dialogue in a team, Pastor Michael?
Yeah, absolutely.
Got that question?
Yeah. I mean, I think and this is, I think it's very, very important. So when you're giving this feedback, don't forget your core values. We have to be respectful. We're going to give this feedback in a respectful way. And so do away with name callings, do away with labels. You start with that. Do away with calling, do away with labels. You know what labels are? Labels just to label the person. You are this person, you're a stupid person, you're not a smart person. Those are labels. You're not a very smart person, you do away with labels. Focus on the issue. If someone, you give them a task, or you're doing something, whatever it is, what is that your concern? What is your concern? Focus on the issue. Let your focus be on the issue, not only, don't attack them, don't label them, don't insult them, don't get personal. Keep it focused on the issue at hand. I think it helps when we start like that. And I said this last week. I said, when you want to give a feedback or you want to speak to someone, start with a positive. Tell them you love this, and but it can be better if you would do this and do this and do this. That's a tactic that works every time. Oh, you're good in this area, you're good in this area, you're good in this area. But I think it would be better if you can improve in this area and improve in this area and improve in this area. Right? And then you offer as a compassionate leader. One of the key things compassionate leaders does is, how can I help? Compassionate leader doesn't leave you to solve the problem by yourself. They always ask, how can I help? What can I do to help you? What can I do to make it easier? That's where the coaching comes. What can I do? What can I help? Do you need any resources? Do you need any, what do you need? Enabling environment to help you. So a compassionate leader doesn't just give the feedback and say, take it, take it, take it, take it. A compassionate leader gives the feedback and says, what can I do to help? Do you need me? Where do you need me to help? I'm ready to help you. This is for the both of us. So a compassionate leader is involved in the solution. Take note of what I just said. A compassionate leader is involved in the solution. A compassionate leader is not just giving you the feedback or the solution. Now, it's not giving you the solution. This is do this. No, the compassionate leader is also involved in the solution. It's two things to just give solutions, but to actually involve yourself in implementing that solution to get the desired result. I think that's what compassionate leaders do. That's what compassionate leaders do. Say, I'm having difficulty getting this thing done. Okay, you're having difficulty getting this thing done. I think you need to learn this skill. Okay. Uh, we as an organization can help you enroll you to take this course. If you're having any difficulty, come to me and I will help you. I can help you straighten it. If you're having some terminology difference and all, I can help you. That's what a compassionate leader does. A compassionate leader has your best interest at heart. A compassionate leader says, "Come to me. Oh, you're doing this. Oh, this is you. I will help you." So, compassionate leader doesn't just give you the solution; he involves himself in implementing that solution. So, the compassionate leader is involved in the solution. He's not just telling you this is the solution. He's involved. He's making it, he's seeing what he can do to get himself involved in that solution. Yeah. I don't know if I answered that question, but just to make it very clear, the compassion leader is not just, he doesn't try to exclude himself. No, he involves himself to the extent that we're able to get to the solution. He's there with you. He will not leave you. He will stay there with you. She will stay there with you. That's what a compassionate leader will do. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Pastor Michael. And one last question before we conclude for the day. I know it's time, but what proactive steps do you take or would one take, would you advise one to take to minimize the likelihood of conflict within a team? So if you can just maybe give us a strategy or something that we can help to just minimize conflict. I know it's inevitable to have conflicts in a team, but what proactive steps do you think we can take to minimize conflict within a team?
I think that's the first thing will be, and I love the word proactive because conflict management is divided into two parts. We have the proactive part of conflict management, and we have the reactive part of conflict management. So the proactive part of conflict management has to do with the things that we do to prevent conflicts, the things that we do to mitigate to prevent the conflict from happening. But reactive conflict management is really the conflict is already ongoing, so we need to solve it. So there's the proactive aspect of it, and part of that is setting up rules and structures. Setting up rules, systems, and structures. It's very, very important that every group, every organization has this systems, agreed systems that they work by. So it's a lot more easier. So to avoid any kind of unforeseeable conflict, you then set some rules, set up the system. So in this organization, we call people on first name basis. That's already set. So you already know that we call people on their first name basis in this organization. And so that conflict of calling me on my first name is already eliminated because it has been set. You see how it works. So when you set those rules, what actually happens is that the rules or the agreed ethics or code of conduct helps to eliminate certain conflicts that could have come up if it wasn't there. So that's what you do, right? You do that. So they could set a rule in the organization that if you want to take orders of, in terms of maybe you want to take orders of, you want to move in the order of the hierarchy of the organization, always go through your first line manager before you go to the next line manager, and all of that. So you see that all of these things are already set up there to avoid conflict, right? So maybe there are certain ways to speak to your colleagues, to speak to team members, to speak to, and all that. This is called values. Really, I think it speaks to the values. Values are important. We need to establish the values, and on those values, we set up systems. Those systems or ethics or principles of operation within the team. It's always built on values. We built that on values. So that's very key and important, right? So that's key. So that helps us to be proactive about conflict management. So I'll put it in a simple way. Rules, regulations, systems help have proactive ways of preventing conflict. When you set up all those rules, you're being proactive about managing conflicts. You're managing the conflict already by setting up those. You're anticipating this could be a problem, and you set rules that guides everyone so that this does not become a problem. Of course, in the midst of that, what you've done is you've solved some problems, or at least you've been able to manage certain areas of conflict. But of course, there will be other conflicts that will come up. And so, as a compassionate leader, you should have mastered what conflict management is. And so, get to the roots of what is causing this conflict. Is it task based? Is it relationship based? Or is it value based? So these are the three elements of conflict management. Task based conflict has to do a lot with really differences in ideology and ways of doing things. And when we speak to relationship conflict, it's more or less has to do with personalities, those differences in personalities, cultures, lived experiences, and all of that. When we speak to value conflict, we're speaking through conflict that has to do with the core of our belief systems, those differences on what we truly believe. So you need to find out this. There are solutions to that, right? For task-based conflict, what we need to come up with is the solution of collaboration. For relationship-based conflict, what we need to come is the solution of empathy. And so, and then for the value-based conflict, what we need actually is to come to find what we call our shared values. So you see there, as a conflict manager, you should already have this in your head. And there are also so many things about conflict management that you need to know as a compassionate, as a compassionate leader. So you need to know these things so you're able to quickly think through and deal with the conflict as they emerge. Right? Deal with the conflict as they emerge. It's very, very important. Of course, conflict management is a topic on its own, but I've just given a summary on how we can proactively manage conflict and actually reactively manage conflict as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor Michael. You did excellent in this. Thank you for answering this particular question. And I believe we all in the room have taken one word or the other to go build on or to learn more on. But we would like to say thank you for taking out your time to be in this room, to study together with us, to learn together with us in this masterclass. I want to sincerely appreciate the woman of God, Pastor Praise, upstage. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining in fellowship. Thank you, Minister, First Lady, Pastor Priye. Thank you for joining in fellowship, Dr. Solomon as well. We appreciate you for joining in fellowship. And Pastor Michael, thank you for taking out your time to give us this beautiful, beautiful training session, as I usually love to call it, because there's a moment of time for us to grow. Praise God. I appreciate each and every one in the room. I believe if you have any question, you will still be able to drop it probably at the back, and we meet next week to continue in this exercise. Pastor Michael, I believe we can shut down.
Yeah, I think before we shut down, we can. I just want to, especially acknowledge Pastor Praise. Thank you so much, Pastor Praise, for joining us on Clubhouse. Thank you so much. It's great to have you, Pastor Praise, and also thank you so much, Dr. Solomon. Maybe I'm sure they have one or two things to say concerning compassionate leadership, and can just give them a few minutes to just say one or two things, then we can close out.
Okay, sir, thank you. We'll start with Dr. Solomon. Dr. Solomon, I don't know if you'd like to add probably say a word or two before we go. Before we close down.
Thank you so much, Pastor Mike, for this teaching. I think it's very important. This is what I believe I'm experiencing at the moment in my place of work. And I pray that we will implement this everywhere. It's the best thing that we are in this world, that we have, our people. And with compassionate leadership, you will be able to make greater impacts that will last forever when people feel love and people feel that you are concerned about their families. And so I think these are very good. This very good knowledge that we need to really put in our head when as we work with people, even at home. It's very important. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Solomon. Pastor Praise, I don't know if you'd like to say a word or two before we leave the room.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anne. Good evening, Dr. Michael. Good evening to everyone in the room. I came towards the end of the questions, but as I was listening to you, Pastor Michael, I was thinking how this teaching would not just help people in the marketplace, but also help in the family. As leaders, as whether fathers or mothers, this compassionate leadership approach would really help, because people want to know that you care. People want to know that you can empathize with them, and you are not just giving them instructions with a disconnected heart. I believe, I don't know if you highlighted before, that Jesus was a compassionate leader, and I believe that's what took him to the cross. So I hope that we are also hearing how, because most times we succeed in the workforce, in the marketplace, and our homes
do not benefit from such teachings as well. So what I would leave with us as we are listening to this is that we're also able to apply this within ourselves, because leadership also starts from within. We are not so hard on ourselves, and it also flows into the family before we take it to the marketplace. God bless you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful evening. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pastor Praise. Actually, this week is the Spectacular Church anniversary, and so we start this.
Oh.
Yes. So today, throughout this week, we're having the theme of our anniversary is compassion. Really, it says, and he was moved with compassion. And so we're speaking to compassionate leadership today. Tomorrow we're going to be speaking to compassionate. Tomorrow we're going to be speaking to compassionate spouse in our relationship service. On Sunday we'll be speaking about a compassionate father in our Sunday service. So it's really about compassion. That's what we're speaking to this through this team, because really we want to I really see the need, especially for us in Spectacular Church, to deal with this need for compassion, from leadership to relationship to also seeing God, who is a compassionate Father as well. So I really look forward to an interesting program throughout this week. Thank you so much, Pastor Praise, for joining us, and thank you so much for that insight. Really powerful. Thank you so much, everyone.
And congratulations to the Spectacular Church.
Thank you so much, Pastor Praise. Thank you, thank you so much. Awesome. So we'll be closing out our meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on all channels. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter Space, on Mixel, and also on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be shutting out right now. Over to you, Anne. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pastor Michael. So thank you again, Pastor Praise. Thank you, Dr. Solomon. Thank you, First Lady. And thank you, everyone, for joining us in fellowship. Yes, indeed, we are blessed to have learned a lot today and to take in, and being empathic